What's going on, everyone? And welcome to TXR, episode number 117, the best spot to talk games on a Sunday night. I'm your host, Invader, and we've got an extraordinary show for you tonight. With us is a truly legendary video game icon. He's one of the most successful video game composers around, instrumental in modernizing game music. He's also well known as a performer, creative director, as well as many other titles to his name. Please welcome the CEO and president of Intellivision Entertainment, Tommy Tallarico. Tommy, how are you doing today?
Wow, I sound busy.
That's the way it goes.
What the hell am I doing talking to you guys? I should be working.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
How are you doing
everyone,
tonight, Tommy?
Type somebody, hi, everybody, out on, there you go. Grudge Q, we know that. Shondell, I know him. All right, we got some people going on.
All right. Yeah, we got the chat filling in. Oh, it's getting lively. All right.
Well, like I tell everybody, feel free to ask any questions you can. The harder, the better. We're an open book. If there's something I can't answer because of patent pendings or anything like that, I'll let you know. But or we sometimes we have to hold some stuff for E3, so I might know the answer, but I can't tell you because I can't spoil the spoil our
the fun
stuff. But ask, but I'm always, don't feel like you have to hold back. I want. Let me see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you guys here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, my goal is to convince you all that you want a Intellivision Amico by the end of this show.
Nice.
Well, you may just have a few pre-orders by the end of the night. You never know.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. That's the trick.
All right. Well, we are thrilled to have you with us, Tommy. But before we dive right into all the questions, let me introduce the show panel. Let's start with Jeremy. Bud, looking forward to chatting with Tommy tonight?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Again, for the second time. Tommy, want to thank you for joining us today. Obviously, I'm a huge fan, for a number of reasons. Number one, obviously what you contribute, your contribution to the industry, we all love. During the time you were writing music for video games, pretty hot and heavy for a while. I purchased a lot of video games that you were featured in, obviously. And, at the time, my gaming media of choice was Game Fan Magazine. I don't know if you guys remember Game Fan Magazine.
Die-hard Game Fan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I had a chance to meet you on a number of occasions, going to concert and E3. You're always grateful to stop and say hello, and I appreciate that. So when I heard you were heading the project, the Intellivision Amico project, I knew you would obviously bring that passion to the project, which would make it a success. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you for the kind words.
Yep.
Good stuff, Jeremy. Hey, Megatron, are you ready for a fun time tonight?
Hey, I'm definitely ready. We got Tommy on, of course, man. I'm excited to hear what the Amico's all about. I can't wait.
Indeed.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Centurion. Hey, man, glad to have you back. How have you been?
Great. I missed last week. I'm glad to be here this week, and I'm actually looking forward to learn more about this gentleman and the great product he's wanting to put out.
Too kind, of course. And hey, Shock Buddy, you ready for an epic show tonight?
Yeah, ready to go. Same as Centurion said. I don't know much about Tom, but I'm looking up some of the work he's done. It's pretty impressive, and some of the games I've definitely played a lot of that include a lot of his music.
Indeed. Well, Tommy's pretty well renowned. Just so everyone knows, Tim Dog and Southbound will not be with us this evening, but hey, they're both busy doing other activities, but they'll definitely be back next week. Tommy, to begin, you are a man with many credentials to your name. Now, if you could you tell us about your background in the video game industry? Because you've been involved in all kinds of games and music, transcending mediums in a lot of ways. Could you just give us a little bit of a background?
Yeah, I've been in the industry for over 30 years, and some of the early games I worked on as a composer and a sound designer. The first game I ever worked on was the original Prince of Persia. And I was actually hired first at Virgin as a games tester, but I would bug the vice president of the company every day to please let me do music. So he let me do Prince of Persia. It ended up winning an award. So they said, okay, we'll make you the music guy now. And so some of the games after that was Global Gladiators, Cool Spot, Disney's Aladdin. We did Earthworm Jim 1, Earthworm Jim 2. And then kind of in the mid-90s, things like Madden Football, the James Bond stuff, Spider-Man, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, worked on the original Tony Hawk, did some stuff with the original Guitar Hero game, Twisted Metal, Mortal Kombat, the Sonic franchise, Pac-Man, Metroid Prime with Shigeru Miyamoto. Worked with him on that for about 5 years in the early 2000s. So lots of crazy stuff in there. And then in 94, I started a video game television show with Victor Lucas. Victor Lucas was the creator of the show and the executive producer, and he asked me to kind of come on as a producer and a host and a writer. So I kind of took that path while I was still doing video game music and sound design. And we did that. I did that for 12 years in a row. And we had 2 television shows. So we were doing 2 weekly TV shows based all around video games. One was a review show and called Judgment Day, or in the U.S., and Reviews on the Run everywhere else in the world. These were worldwide syndicated shows, so they were played everywhere from Australia to Sweden. And the other show was called The Electric Playground, and won a Telly Award, an Emmy Award for Best News Magazine, Cable News Magazine. And so did that for 12 years. And then I started Video Games Live in 2002, 18 years ago. And I've been touring that ever since. It was the very first touring video game symphony show. And also, actually, one important thing to note, too, is that I have the Guinness Book of World Records for the person who's worked on the most video games in their lifetime, over 350 projects at this point.
Wow.
And so I've been, doing Video Games Live and touring that. I have a couple of different Guinness World Records with that. It's the longest running symphony tour ever. We've done over 520 shows.
Amazing shows. They're
Thank
great.
you. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Rocking. Which city?
Well, it was Los Angeles. We did Irvine.
Okay.
Yeah, we were all over the place. So you did.
Yeah. We've played. We played the Irvine Amphitheater before it closed
that was
down.
That was a good one. That was
awesome. Hollywood Bowl. We played a couple times.
And that's where we actually met for the first time. Was Irvine? Your Irvine location.
Okay, cool. That's right in my backyard. That's where I live in Orange County.
Yep.
And actually, and Intellivision is right in Irvine as well, right near there. But so anyway, and then 2.5 years ago, I picked up Intellivision Reigns, and have been doing that hardcore ever since. I still do some Video Games Live shows every once a month on the weekend. I'll take it out, but obviously I've brought those back because I was doing like 40-50 shows a year, so I'm doing one around the world every week. And so now we're, I cut that way back to focus on Intellivision, but we'll be in the Middle East in a couple of weeks, on the weekend for, we're playing in Doha, Qatar, with the Doha the Qatar National Symphony, the King's Symphony, the ruler. We'll be in Florida, we'll be in Washington, all over the place. So anyway.
Tommy, I'm looking forward to the Intellivision Amico project. Take us through inception. How did the project get started? How did you get, funding?
Jeremy, if I may interject. Yes. So Tommy, we've actually got somebody popping in just a few seconds, and he wants to say hi to you.
Okay.
So let's see. I just got to bring somebody out here. So sorry for interrupting, Jeremy, but we have a surprise guest.
How's it going, buddy? Did I miss the part where you guys talked about EP and reviews in the run?
Yeah, you did. I just finished. I just finished talking about you.
I thought I heard somebody talking about it, so I had to jump on right away.
I did.
How's it going?
This is the remember everyone out there. I remember how I just said the creator of the show and Victor Lucas. Well, that's him on the thing. We haven't talked we talk all the time on Twitter and Facebook, but I haven't heard your voice live in about a couple of weeks or months.
One of these guys, I'm not even sure who, was it Jim or Jeremy? Somebody sent me a DM and said, you want to pop in and surprise Tommy? And I was like, sure, let's do it.
Nice.
Well, hey, and Vic, I got to tell you, I really appreciate you putting up that poll. Was that today or yesterday?
Yeah, it was today, yeah.
That was today. And Vic put up a poll. If you go to Victor Lucas on Twitter, he puts, and I want everybody in the chat to please do this because I'm putting I'm putting my finger on the scale here. But he put up a poll about aside from the big three, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, because there are like 4 or 5 other video game systems coming out this year, and so Vic asks in his poll, which one do you prefer? Or which one are you most excited about? So everybody pick Intellivision Amico, please. I think we're winning already, aren't we? What are we at?
You're winning for sure.
All right.
And they're not even close.
They're different kinds of machines, right? We got the Poly Mega out there, which I don't, who knows if that's finally going to get shipped. I really hope it does.
Yeah.
The Analog Pocket, which will let you play your old classic Game Boy games and a bunch of other carts. And then this Playdate thing. Have you seen this Playdate thing, Tommy?
Oh, the one with the crank.
Yeah. It's so cool. That's so
cool.
Man,
I'd like to review. I like to be reviewing this stuff with you.
I know.
When it comes out.
It's weird, right? People ask us to do reviews on the run all the time again. And Tommy and I were talking about that possibility of actually going to different cities and doing some of that. And then he becomes the president of Intellivision. And it's like, well, I can't really have Tommy reviing other people's things.
I'll be honest with you.
A console,
and I would be biased.
I know you would. I actually asked him to review Spider-Man because I know that Spider-Man is your favorite. And he's like, I can't review it. It's a PlayStation game and I've got a machine I'm making right now. I can't do it. That's so.
I know.
Fair game.
Bad timing.
But we should review all the old Intellivision games.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, tell the story, Vic, while you're here. Tell the story about kind of how you. I don't know if you didn't first hear about Intellivision through me, but
no,
but you would. I would always talk about it 25 years ago.
You were always talking about. I was an Atari guy, right? And I looked on with admiration at Intellivision, but Tommy and I had a rivalry over many things. But one of them was the fact that I was an Atari guy and you were, and I had a ColecoVision and stuff. But I never bought into the Intellivision world. But you were always telling me and preaching how amazing Intellivision it was, and how much it was ahead of its time, and how deep the games were, and how smart the games were. So it was a shock when the news hit that you were being brought into the family and we're going to kind of spearhead this new direction for Intellivision, but not that much of a shock if you've known you for a while because, well, you're crazy and you like to just chase windmills and make impossible things happen, which I have mad respect for. But you've always loved Intellivision. And I got to know some of the Intellivision people through Keith, who passed away. And he became a mutual friend and a real friend for you. So I just think it's a great story and it's a remarkable one. And because I know you and I know the people involved, it's a personal one. And honestly, that's, I think, something missing from some of the other Atari VCS sort of stories that are out there right now. Like nobody knows what the hell the Atari message is and who's behind it. It just all seems so nebulous. But everybody knows that this is a real passion play from you guys, and there's a real message behind it, and I think it's going to rock.
And you know so many of the people too at the company. I mean, you personally know them. You know, myself, David Perry, Jason Enos, Mike Dietz. You know, you remember Rusty at Interplay?
Is Rusty working with you?
Yeah, Rusty works for us now too. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, no,
he's the guy who brought Descent to the world. He was the guy who signed that game company, Flow, and all those stuff because he worked at. After Interplay, he worked at Sony for 8 years and did all the indie game development stuff.
That's
Flow
awesome,
and
dude.
Flower.
That's awesome, dude. So 10/10/2020, right?
That's it. Mark it in your unless I just heard a rumor.
When do I get mine?
Well, the Founders Edition is taking pre-orders for the Founders Edition is coming Friday.
Oh, you're gonna put me in the pre-order camp? Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Oh man!
No, we'll get you one, Vic. We'll get you one.
The pink
I want to review these things. Everybody keeps asking me, how have you played the games? And I had the taste test at E3.
A little bit, yeah. That was almost a year ago. And I mean, and you liked them then, but I mean, imagine where they are now.
Yeah. I can't wait, brother. I can't wait.
Did you see the Breakout we released last month?
I played it. It was very cool.
Yeah.
I wanted more. You had me in. It was like, okay, it's a nice little taste. Yeah. I mean, it's cool, man. I know that this is incredibly difficult work that you're doing to try to pull all this stuff together, but you're hitting some cool milestones, and I see all the press that's surrounding Intellivision and the goodwill that's surrounding it. I think it's fantastic, man. And honestly, it's a real market.
I mean, you gotta say, if nothing else, if we pull this off, it's got to be one of the biggest, underdog stories
absolutely
the game industry has ever seen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah, no, and honestly, dude, like one of the things that's kind of inspiring about it all is, or makes me feel like there's a real shot here, is the preponderance of retro gaming channels on YouTube that really, pump up the love for this stuff and really have a real deep knowledge and appreciation for the history of games. This is Digital Foundry all across the board at every level, consumer, enthusiasts, professional. There's just a lot of coverage of the classic years of gaming going on still. I'm a huge fan of what Analog has put out with the Super NT and the Mega SG consoles, and cartridges still feel, relevant and worth talking about 30 years after they came out, which is unbelievable. But that all speaks to the fact that there is an absence in product lines around this stuff. Like there is an opportunity for people to talk to consumers differently about video games than everybody else that has to be the cutting edge.
And I don't even think it's necessarily the titles as much as it is, and this is what we keep saying over and over, as much as it is the fact that those games were simple and easy to understand, and you could jump into them and play right away, and they were easy to understand. They might be difficult down the road, but okay, Pac-Man, up, down, left, right. I get it, right? Space Invaders, move left and right, you shoot. I got it, right? Try to do that with Fortnite. My dad has a panic attack when you put a PlayStation 4 controller in his hand.
Well, the solution to a lot of this is sort of in the regular NPDs as well, though. Like Call of Duty Modern Combat was the biggest selling game of 2019. Yeah. And by this point, that is a very simple game for people to understand and wrap their heads around. Simplicity in video games does quite well when people have some accessibility with this stuff.
Although it was the biggest selling game for like consoles and PCs, though, mobile and casual still kick everybody's butt, So that's what people are forgetting, and that's what we're doing. Really, it's all about bringing family and friends back together. That's the main
tough
goal.
Thing that you're going to have, though, is getting people out of their homes, and going to stores to pick up stuff, but I know everything's going to be digital, but it just feels like there's a real move away from physical goods. And
I don't know, but everyone I talk to, they kind of don't want to. Yeah, I mean, how's that working out for Google Stadia? So I mean, I don't know if the world's ready yet. I still think we got one more cycle of physical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my hat's
Well, I know
off to you.
you're a collector. You collect a whole bunch of stuff, right?
I am, but
you're moving it all to digital.
I
your
review,
DVDs
right? Yeah, I review so much. So now it's less about physically owning all of this stuff and more having immediate access to this stuff. And it's also easier for the publishers that I work with to just send me a code and I can review it right away, as opposed to waiting for FedEx and all of that stuff. Remember how many times we were waiting for games to show up for us to review? Like, we haven't got it. We have a show date that has to happen. We've got the game scheduled.
And we'd get it the night before, and we'd stay up all night long in your basement playing the game together so we could review it the next morning.
Yep. Crazy times. Anyways, I barged in on your interview. I'll let you guys
I love it. Great surprise.
Thanks for coming out, Victor.
Hey, that was my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. Have a good time, you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Vic.
Take care.
You'll have to do an interview with Vic on his own sometime too.
We did actually. We did. Yeah.
Oh, you did. Oh, he's the best.
Yeah.
Well,
I've never met anyone who knows more about video games and the video game industry than Victor Lucas. So
yeah, I wanted it to be a surprise. So
that's great. I appreciate it. That was a good one too. And it's funny because people, we'd like bicker on the show, but it was all, we were all playing it up for the cameras, of course. And people are like, even that one high heat baseball review where I like stormed off and left. That was all kind of a setup. It was we love each other like brothers, but it is true that the great thing is there is real tension there and real disagreement because there's stuff we love.
Well, that's what made the show special.
There's stuff we were absolutely opposites on. And so when you know that there was something that we both loved, it must have been great. And if there was something we both hated, it must have really been bad. But it was that tension that, that made it special, I think, and it was real. We would never talk to each other before the cameras started rolling. Oh, what did you think of this? Or what did you think? We're like, no, let's save it for the camera. So when what you saw on camera was our real-time reactions to what the other person was saying. So again, I think that there was no scripts, there was no talking about it but before the cameras rolled or anything. We all saved it for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Definitely. So getting back to the Intellivision Amico, take us through inception. How did the project get started? How did you get the funding, and what were some of the reactions that you specifically got from some of the people that you picked up to work on the project?
Yeah. Actually, before I start that, this one guy, the great Alexander, has been asking. He's been repeating this question about the Roblox oof sound.
Yeah.
For those of you who might be following the news in regards to Roblox and me, so the Roblox oof sound, I guess people are saying the most famous video game sound effect in the world. It's become a pop culture icon and meme, I guess, unbeknownst to me, but it was a sound that I did. And we found that, that it was in Roblox. It had my metadata on the file. I didn't even know this existed. I had never played Roblox. So, I wasn't familiar of the sound. And then, people started tweeting me last year going, hey, this some guy by the name of Joey Curris is on this sound and he works for Tommy Tallarico at Studios. and it was created in 1999 for this game Messiah, 6-7 years before Roblox came out. Yeah. And anyway, but his question is in regards to the oof, saying, has Roblox bought the oof sound that we created? Is there going to be a lawsuit? So I can give you the up to the minute update on this.
Is it in arbitration right now, or is it?
No. We're trying. We've been going back and forth for about 6 or 9 months now. Whenever I found out, I think it was last summer, so probably like 7-8 months. We've been going back and forth kind of, trying to work something out. It went silent for 3 or 4 months, and then it came up again because Roblox had announced that they're going to be taking the oof sound or replacing the oof sound, and the whole community went crazy. Were upset, and they blamed me. Because they felt like I was telling them to take it out, or because of a lawsuit or something I was taking out. That's actually, none of that is actually true. I haven't sued Roblox. I never asked them to take the sound out. I didn't send a cease and desist letter. I was trying to get them to just purchase the sound so that I wouldn't, so that it was just here, you buy the sound, and then we don't have to worry about it. You can keep it in the game. All the fans are happy. I'm happy. Everybody's happy.
Now, did they ignore you for a while, or?
No, they never really ignored us. They just didn't want to do that. But the up to the minute news is that we've been talking all this past week, and we're both, I think, at a really good place. And I think we're going to get this resolved probably, hopefully, over the next couple of weeks. And but not only that, there's some big announcements maybe coming that's going to benefit everybody. It's going to benefit the Roblox community. It's going to benefit Roblox. It's going to benefit me. And who knows, it might even benefit Intellivision. You never know. But we got some great things. Roblox never been mean to me, or they've never been, treated me unfairly or this and that. It's just that, I had a number, they had a number, and the numbers were just so far off. So we've been trying to think about ways where, we can somehow, where it's beneficial for everyone. And I think we've come up with some cool things. And so anyway, everything's good on that front. And again, I think it's going to be, the resolution that we're coming up with is going to benefit everybody, which is great. And most of all, the Roblox community and the Roblox fans. So that's what both me and Roblox are most excited about, is that, the ones that make out the most from this is the community. So we're excited. Fun stuff coming.
I'm sure in the process you got a lot of dicks sending you death threats. I'm assuming.
Oh my God, it was brutal. I mean, look, I get it. I mean, Roblox, the Roblox community does skew a little younger. I think it's fair to say, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old stuff. Yeah. I mean, I was getting a bunch of hate and death threats and screw you and all that stuff because, again, they felt that because of me. I mean, there were rumors out there saying that the company was shutting down because I was suing them, that I threatened to get them shut down. Absolutely not the case at all. But what I find interesting, though, and this is something that you got to commend Roblox for, is that these gamers, these kids are so passionate about a video game.
Right? My daughter plays religiously every single day.
She does. Oh, that's great. So I mean, that's the thing, right? So, as much as it's crappy for me as a human being to read all this like vitriol and hatred thrown my way, I feel sad for the human race. But I take a step back and look at it and go, wow, it's kind of cool that because of a video game, these folks are so passionate about, their mission to destroy me. But seriously though, the Roblox community has come out in a much positive way. So although, kind of the death threats and the haters and you're a jerk, they're always the kind of the loudest voices. The reality is that I literally have hundreds, and I mean hundreds and hundreds of messages on Twitter, on DMs on Twitter, from people saying, I'm so sorry those people are treating you like that, and it's not reflective of the entire community, and please don't hate the Roblox community and this. So like everything on social media, and especially Twitter,
Yeah.
you know, the 1 or 2% that's kind of the loudest. Everyone thinks that's the majority. But the reality is that the Roblox community has been so cool to me, super nice, super, you know, so much more outpouring of positive reaction. And now, you know, knowing that, oh my God, you're the guy who's created this thing that I've played for 14 years, this sound. So it's been a lot more positive than negative. So anyway, that's about the oof stuff.
Well, I told my daughter we had the oof master on, and she was like, "What?" During the headlights look. So I was like,
Of course.
So Intellivision. So you asked, how did I come into it?
yeah. So take us through inception, and how did you get the project started? How did you get the funding for it?
Yeah.
And you know, when you approached people, you know, to work for you, how did that come about?
Well, that's the easiest part when they hear about it. But
nice.
but the so basically, you know, Intellivision was my machine growing up. As Victor Lucas was saying, I would talk about it all the time, even through my 20s and 30s and through to my 40s. I'm now in my 50s, and that, you know, so it was something that always stayed with me my entire life, even though Intellivision was gone. I mean, it's probably the way that, you know, that you guys might think of the NES or the first time you played Mario or Pokemon or whatever, you know, like for me, that was Intellivision. And when I think of Intellivision, I think of playing with my mom and my dad and my younger brother, my family, my friends, my relatives. It brings back this huge amount of just joy and happiness to my heart whenever I think about that. And that played a key role because as I moved through the video game industry from decade after decade after decade, and I would just see the games just getting harder and harder and more difficult and more complex and more violent and more outrageous. You know, I started to like not play as much myself, you know, and then when I got married, and my wife's a huge Pokemon fan. She grew up, she actually had her dad and she had older brothers, and they had an Intellivision. So one of her favorite games growing up was Shark on the Intellivision, which was cool. But she's 34 years old now, so she's younger than me. But she still knew Intellivision too, which was cool. But she was really more of the Pokemon generation, and there's no games that we can really even play together, right? Yep. The ones that are like, she doesn't play Smash Brothers, and then she'll play Pokemon, but I'll play Red Dead Redemption, and she doesn't have any interest in that. And so, you know, we would try to find games that we could play together, and it just gets lower and lower and lower, you know, and it's kind of depressing. So. I just finally had enough. And so, you know, I was good friends with Keith Robinson, who Vic alluded to, who was the president of Intellivision. And we were good friends because I was such a great, you know, Intellivision fan, and I, you know, I became friends with all the folks there, and we'd see each other at game conferences. Keith would always come over my house when I'd have parties. We'd come to my birthday parties and all sorts of fun stuff. And he had asked me, because he knew I was so passionate about Intellivision. He had asked me like 5 years ago, hey, do you want to come on board and you know, help us with Intellivision? You can own a part of the company and you know, maybe, you know, help us do stuff. And I said, Keith, I have this vision of like changing the whole video game industry. Why don't we do a brand new Intellivision machine? And he was like, oh my God, that would be amazing. He says, you know, but you know, that would be something that I would have to need your help for. You know, he couldn't raise the funds. He didn't have the people. He didn't have the, you know, this and that. And so we'd always talked about, I said, yeah, this would be great, you know, and then I would go on tour with Video Games Live, and he'd do his, then we'd see each other like 6 months later at a convention. Oh man, we got to talk about this new machine. We got to yeah, crap. Let's get together next week or whatever. And we'd get together and have a meeting and then go off, and then life happens and all that stuff. And so, and then Keith passed away, unfortunately, suddenly of a heart attack about 2.5 years ago. And those times in your life when you might have friends or family who have passed away, and you start having like all these regrets, or, oh gosh, the last time I talked to him, or, oh, I was supposed to hang out with that person and I didn't, or whatever. There's all these things, emotions that come flowing at you. So at Keith's life celebration, because I call it that because that's what it was. It wasn't really a funeral. All of his friends and family got together and we told stories, and it was great. And we played games, and it was at this big thing, and we ate cake and ice cream and all sorts of fun stuff, and remembered Keith. And I spoke to the other owners, employees of Intellivision, and these guys started out in Intellivision in 1980 and 81. Wow. I mean, that's crazy, right? And so that's when we decided, we said, look, we can't let this just, what's going to happen with the company? And people are kind of like, I don't know, like Keith was the force behind it, and it really kept it all going. And I says, well, look, come over my house next week. Let's have a meeting, and I want to present something to everyone. So they came over my house, and I dressed the entire room up with all my Intellivision stuff. I mean, I had like all the games, all the consoles, posters, everything. And so they walked in and they're like, okay, this guy's creepy. Wow. But I just wanted to show them, my love for Intellivision, which they knew, but I really wanted to, take it to the next level. And I presented them with my vision of what I wanted the next Intellivision to be. And I got to say that vision that I laid out that day is probably 90% in the machine today still. So we added some things and added some cool things, but the reality of it, and what I did is I had sat down with David Perry. For those of you who follow the game industry, go on Wikipedia, put Dave Perry video game or whatever in Wikipedia, and you'll see that he's, he was the programmer of Earthworm Jim. He was the creator of Shiny Entertainment, the programmer of Global Gladiators, Cool Spot, Disney's Aladdin, the Matrix games, sold his company Shiny. And then he's kind of considered the father of cloud gaming. He raised $50 million and created his company called Gaikai, which he then sold to Sony Computer Entertainment for $383 million. And that basically became PlayStation Now. It was their cloud gaming service. So Dave created that. He was on the board at Sony for 5 years and then left a couple years ago. So me and Dave kind of, myself, Dave Perry, and Steve Roney, who started out in Intellivision in 1981. He was the guy who was the programmer of B-17 Bomber, if you remember that one. B-17 Bomber. It's kind of a classic IntelliVoice game. And then I brought in a fourth very dear friend of mine named Nick, and he was the CFO. Here's a guy who sold his last company for $150 million. He used to be he's like a legitimate race car driver. He was the 2008 Porsche Cup champion. So Intellivision actually has a racing team now, and I'm on it, and Nick's on it, and a couple other of our great friends and great racers. But like I'm the crappiest guy on the team for sure. Nick's like the superstar, and I'm pretty good, but Nick's just like on a different level. But we met at the Ferrari Club years back, and he had come to Italy to my wedding, and he knew Dave Perry because he met Dave was my best man at my wedding in Italy, and it was just amazing that we all kind of came together. So the four of us really co-founded this Intellivision Entertainment, because what we did is we had to set the company up to be investable, right? So the old company was called Intellivision Productions. That was the company that Keith, was running, but it was just one company. So when you form a company to be invested, to be investable, we put the patents in one LLC, the games in another LLC, the the hardware in another one, the new games in another one, the trademarks in another. And then there's like a big holdings company called Intellivision Holdings, which kind of, is the main focus for all those different companies underneath it. And the reason they do that is to protect right. the investors, protect, a bunch of different reasons. And by the way, I don't know if I've ever told anyone this, but to let you know kind of the level of professionalism and who we're dealing with, our corporate attorneys are called Morgan Lewis. Morgan Lewis, is that the name? I want to make sure I got that right. Hold on. And they're the number one corporate Morgan Lewis. Go on Wikipedia and look at Morgan Lewis. You'll see that they represent, I think it's 70 to 75% of all the Fortune 100 companies. They represent Donald Trump and Barack Obama and the Clintons. So no matter what side of the political coin you're on, they represent the best of the best, And so this is like, when you have a company like this behind you as your corporate attorneys, you're doing it right. In regards to things like trademarks and patents, you might be familiar with Kenobi Martin. Again, Wikipedia, they're the number one patent attorneys on the planet. So we really have the A team for every single thing that we do, whether it's our producers, Jason Enos is our, VP of production. Jason, he was the producer of the Metal Gear Solid games, wow. Dance Dance Revolution, Silent Hill, Castlevania, Contra. So he was at Konami for many years, Sega even before that in the early 90s. And then he moved over to EA. He ran the EA Kids division for a little bit, or I don't know if he ran it, but he was a bigwig there. And then he moved over to Namco and ran Namco for 8 years. Not ran it. I say ran it. I shouldn't say that. But he produced a lot of titles over there, Tekken series and Air Combat and all that. I think Naruto and things like that. So these are he's one of the top producers in the entire video game industry. Boom, got him. And just every person, our art director, Mike Dietz, he's the guy who was the animation director for Earthworm Jim and Disney's Aladdin and on and on and on. So, every step of the way, getting these rock stars, and all I have to do is pitch them the console, pitch them the idea of bringing people together in the same room. If you take away nothing else about what is Intellivision and why is it so different from everything else out there, it's that our main goal and our main focus is to bring family and friends back together, no matter what your skill level is, and you're all sitting on the couch with multiple controllers, all having fun at the same time. Not grandma watching you play Fortnite, not so-and-so waiting their turn to play Zelda after hour 2. No, we're talking about true couch co-op. And again, you say, well, yeah, but Tommy, look at the Switch. There's you got Super Smash Brothers. People are playing couch co-op on the Switch. Oh, really? Is your mom playing Super Smash Brothers with you? I think not, right? So the quick elevator pitch is, think of what the Nintendo Wii was. That was 14 years ago.
Right.
But what we're doing is, it's kind of like the Wii 14 years later, but with a ton new and updated technology. But our main focus is on those casual gamers, non-gamers, retro gamers, and really something for everyone where everyone can come together. We don't have online play, against each other, because what happened in the late 90s? See, we didn't have the internet when I was growing up. So multiplayer meant your friends came over and you played, or your family. In the late 90s, when internet came to be, now multiplayer meant a kid in a dark room with his headphones on. That's what multiplayer means these days, and we just want to bring it back. We want to bring back those great feelings. I guarantee all of you in the chat, all of you on the stream, I guarantee if you think back of what your favorite video game memory was ever of all time, I guarantee it was when you were in a room with a bunch of people playing games.
Absolutely.
Right?
I used to play LAN parties with Halo. We used to set up
Halo LAN parties.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
It was GoldenEye on the N64,
GoldenEye.
Bomberman, or Tekken tournaments, or Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. Whatever it was, right? You guys think back and you say, what were the greatest moments you had? And now you can't think of any recently that have happened like that, right?
Nope.
Yeah, I have
And
to say
that's what we're
personally-
doing, my friends.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We
Yeah.
are bringing that back, and that's our main focus. And we're simple, and it's affordable, and it's family oriented, and it's entertainment. Those are our 4 pillars of the company, and those 4 words spell out safe, because we don't have violent games, sexually oriented games, bad language, not even mildly. E for everyone, E plus 10. You know why? Because when we were growing up, we didn't need that stuff. We didn't need headshots, you know. You don't need an M rating, violent blood, if you're going to play bowling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's although that would be pretty cool. Imagine that you throw the balls at everyone's head, they smash. Or anyway.
Oh man.
So that's but feel free to keep asking questions. Let's hit it.
So, all right, Tommy. So the Intellivision Amico, it really seems to harken back to the early days of gaming, both with the style of console and the games coming out for it. So what made you want to push forward with this console? Because to me, I get the sense that this is a very much a passion project for you in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, anything I do, anything I've ever done in my career,
All in.
is all in, but it's always been, I've always been the underdog. No one's ever believed I could do or achieve any. Like, I'll give you some examples. When I first got in the game industry and I started doing real music for video games, people were like, why would anyone want to listen to video game music? And I put out the very first soundtrack album for a video game worldwide on Capitol Records, major label, distributed worldwide. Tommy Tallarico, Virgin Games Greatest Hits, Volume 1. And people thought I was nuts. They're like, no one's going to listen to video game music. Like, you're stupid. And then when me and Vic were doing the TV show, again, this is the mid-90s, we were the only cameras at the first E3. The only ones, right?
Wow.
And people are like, why would anyone want to learn about video games? Like, people play video games. They don't watch people play them, or they don't watch them. They don't want to learn about them. Again, this is pre-YouTube, pre-Twitch, pre-everything. And people thought we were nuts. And now look where the industry's gone. Then with Video Games Live, people are like, oh, Tommy, this is 18 years ago, remember? People are like, now you finally lost it. I know maybe you got lucky with those other things, but now look. People who go to a symphony, they don't play video games. And people who do play video games, they certainly don't go to a symphony. So you're totally screwed. No one's going to show up to your dumb thing. And so every time, and now with Intellivision, we have a lot of folks, a lot of people who are loving what we're doing. When you hear the story, when you hear the message, when you get a little more in depth, when I'm able to answer these questions one-on-one. But there's also folks who don't know much about it, who might just read a press release or hear about it through a negative video on YouTube or some negative response on like 4chan or Reset Era or anything like that. And so there's this faction of like hardcores who hate it. Anything new they hate, right? So so it's interesting, to watch it. But the reality is, as I said with the Roblox situation earlier, the reality is the people who know about it and who find out about it, much more bigger majority. If you go on YouTube, just go on our Intellivision YouTube channel and watch our 2009 influencer kind of roundup of the year, and you'll see all these people and all the great things they say about it. So it is tough though, right? It's difficult. You put your mind and soul and heart and passion into everything. You create this amazing team around you. You work hard at it every day. You're always looking for investment and money too. It never ends, right? It's not like, oh yeah, somebody wrote a check for $30 million and we don't have to worry about it. No, we're always trying to get from point A to point B, because it's a process, right? Somebody just doesn't write a big check at the beginning. It's like, you do things, you make progress. Now people want to give you more money at a higher evaluation. You keep going, you make more progress. Now you find more people who are interested in putting in. And then, in order to expand as well, we have offices in Europe. We have an office in Dubai. We're looking at China right now. We might have a big announcement in a few weeks about, opening an office in China, Intellivision China. And so that's an exclusive for you guys, by the way. And we haven't talked about that ever. And so, but there's Mexico and there's Brazil and South America and there's all these places, right? So we are the underdog, and no one's kind of going to see us coming, right? No one's taking us seriously yet, and we're not trying to even market. Our go-to-market strategy isn't for like the hardcore gamers, right? Like, I'm not trying to get like Ninja and PewDiePie to talk about us. And by the way, if they do, great. It's not like I'm not going to try, but it's not our focus. Our focus is moms, young families, parents, grandparents, retro gamers 50 and over, young moms and dads with kids between the ages of 2 and 7. These are the people that are being abandoned, right? Yep. There's no, when a mom walks around the mall and she walks into GameStop and she says, hey, do you have anything for my 4-year-old? You know what GameStop's got to tell her? We got nothing. We got nothing, right? Where are most GameStops? Most GameStops are in malls. Same thing with Walmart. Who's shopping in Walmart between 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon? It's moms with kids. Yeah. And there's nothing to sell them when they walk over to that video game section, right? Because, Nintendo Switch is, probably 9, 10 years old and over. By 12, kids are on Fortnite. By their teenage years, they want PlayStation, Xbox. Yeah. Before that, 7, 8, you're talking Roblox, Minecraft, right? But where's the
unless
stuff?
You got the salesperson convincing the moms that great GTA 5 is a great game, and then all the kids love it. Well,
no, they wouldn't do that. But you see, what happened is that all that edutainment and all those casual games that they used to sell in the 90s. Remember, THQ had all the Nickelodeon licenses. Oh, yeah. There was EA Kids. There was, every company had like a kids division, was doing edutainment, right? You see it on the PC a lot, see it on the GameCube and stuff. All that's gone because of this, right? Everybody moved over to mobile. So all the edutainment stuff, all the hyper casual and casual stuff is now on mobile for the last 10 years. But Candy wait a second. Yeah. What's the Candy Crushes and the Angry Birds? But what's the problem with this? It's solitary. So every single edutainment game, every single game for kids between the ages of 2 and 7, every single game for non-gamers, everyone is solitary now. Solitary. Yep. Cannot play them with other people in the room. Parents are not playing games with their 4, 5, 6-year-old kids because they don't even make them anymore, right? Did you know this? Millennials, the millennial generation took over the baby boomer generation for the number one generation the planet Earth has ever seen. It used to be it used to be baby boomers. Those were the biggest in the world generation that the planet Earth's ever seen. Millennials take over last year. Now, in America alone, Because what do we know about millennials? And you know, there's probably a lot of them right here. Millennials, you know, our parents, like I'm a Gen Xer, but millennials and Gen Xers, like our parents, they got married when they were like in the early 20s. They had us by the time they were like 25, 27 years old, right? Yep. They had their careers. They had this. Mom was staying at home, the whole thing, right? Our generation, that's kind of over now and finished. Millennials got married much later, got their jobs later, their careers later, left home later, right? Yep. And now having kids later. So this is the amazing thing. Never in the history of our planet Earth has there been a time where there's been more young families. In the United States alone, there are 21 million households that have kids between the ages of 2 and 7. In Europe, it's another 21 million households. And if you add in Canada and Mexico, the rest of North America, so you add just North America and Europe, and that's it, 65 million households, not people, households that have kids between the ages of 2 and 7 years old, and there's not a single damn thing that they can play with their parents anymore. Very different from when Gen Xers grew up and when millennials grew up, right? We played games. We can all remember playing games with our parents. Now, the parents have to watch the kids. It's crazy. Yeah. And so that's our thing. Our thing is, our focus is those young families who are being ignored in home consoles. Our focus is elderly and seniors, those baby boomers, which loved the Wii. They all bought it just to go Wii bowling. They're completely ignored now. There's nothing on the Wii, the Switch for them. There's nothing on the PlayStation, nothing on PC, nothing on, and I'm talking general terms here, right? I know there's like, you know, grandmas that play Skyrim and stuff. I get it. I'm just talking though, general consensus here, general overall, right? So there's nothing for seniors, nothing for young families. And let's face it, I don't know if there's any Gen Xers here, but I think I know there's a few of them in the chat. They'll tell you. Gen Xers are kind of starting to get disenfranchised. Well, not starting. They have been disenfranchised with modern day consoles and modern day games. Too much.
I don't think so. I think there's a market for the hardcore, to be honest, because we grew up in that era.
Well, how old are you?
39.
Okay, so you're 39. So you're right at the end of Gen X, right? Gen X, yeah. You're Gen X, right? And so here's a stat for you. There's 200 million hardcore gamers in the world. That's if you add up all the people who own an Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, or who play PC gaming.
Right.
There's 200 million people in the world who play hardcore games. Okay. Do you know how many people play mobile devices every day? Video games on mobile, casual games? 3 billion. So that means that 2.8 billion people are disenfranchised and are not playing home console and hardcore games.
Yep.
This is insanity. Insanity. And that's that's our market. Now, do I think that hardcore gamers will end up buying an Amico and having fun with it? Absolutely. But I'm not going to market to them. It'll be like their second or third console. Nobody's going to buy an Amico instead of a PlayStation 5, a hardcore gamer. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, you know, drinking my own Kool-Aid here. You know, but it's going to be the system like they had their Wiis, right? People had PlayStation 3s or 2. What was out? I think it was 3. They had their PlayStation 3s, and then they also they bought a Wii for their mom or when their girlfriend and her friends came over or whatever, you know? So yeah, the machine really is for everyone, but where we carve out our own niche is in that family-friendly couch co-op, everyone playing together, no matter what your skill level is.
Okay.
And is there a certain like level, and because I've been reading up on some of it. I'm just thinking of the level of like I would say power, but like specs that you're going for. I guess something affordable. So like the people you described that are going to purchase.
Exactly. So and I'll be the first to admit, and I've said this for 2.5 years since we announced, our machine isn't about speed. It's not about, fast graphics processing. See, and that's why Mike Dietz, our art director, is so key to this whole thing. You don't have to have a fast processor, graphics chip, real-time tessellation, blah, 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 in order to have good graphics.
Right.
Because graphics are about style, not how photorealistic they are. Right. And so if you have a nice stylized art game, you don't need the fastest test. But that being said, our system isn't about speed because we don't care. When your moms were playing Wii bowling, do you think she cared whether or not the reflection was in real time on the bowling alley, when the this and the lighting and the blah, blah? She didn't care. Right?
Or even how accurate it was.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very arcadey style thing, right? Yeah. And so it was just about having fun. And so to me, in my career, and I think everybody here would agree with this statement, is that the most important thing about a video game is not the graphics. It's not the speed of the processor. Is the game fun or not? It's the gameplay, it's the design. That's the most important thing. You either have fun with the game, it doesn't matter what the graphics look like. You either have fun with the game or you don't. I would rather play a game that's simple, affordable, simplistic graphics, but is super fun and I can play with my friends. I would rather do that than spend $100 on a game that has photorealistic graphics, but the controls are kind of wonky and the game design sucks and I was bored to tears because they have 5-minute cinematics in between even starting the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's see. Who do we got here?
Right. That'd be me.
Hit it.
All right. Well, in a recent interview I watched on YouTube, you said that the Amico is capable of things that consoles are not. That kind of sparked some curiosity in my mind to make a statement like that.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. It's a great question. And again, a statement like that, people are like, what the hell is this moron talking about? So this is what I'm referring to. I'll get into a little detail here because it's fun. As you kind of start to unwrap the present here, it starts to get, starts to make more sense. So from a game design standpoint, we are doing things on this system that have never, ever been attempted or done before because of the fact, oh, wait, hold on. I got you guys another exclusive. You ready for this?
Ooh, he's breaking out the orange bag.
I have the this is the a little thing that we're going to be, no one's ever seen this before. This is our little Amico carrying case. The one difference here, let me switch over to this. So this is the Amico. See how there's a Swedish flag right there. We're actually that's going to be a Running Man flag. So Running Man, but so this is my carrying case here. And this is the latest version of the controller.
Wow.
And actually it's the batteries, I'm sure, dead. It's been sitting. So I'm going to let it charge. By the way, USB 3. Hello. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're not trying to jip people into buying extra cables and crap. So okay. So what I'm saying, I'll and it's best if I give examples, so that you can really, and I'll give a couple different examples. But for example, the number one card game in the world is Solitaire. Okay.
Right.
The number 2 card game in the world is Texas Hold'em. They have shows about them on ESPN, championships all over the world. And Texas Hold'em is about people in a room together playing this game together. You're looking over, is this guy bluffing? You're trying to pick up subtle things that this person's doing. You get to throw down and throw down your straight flush and, punch your buddy in the arm. Aha, you suck. That's the fun of Texas Hold'em. But you've never been able to play that scenario with your friends in a room. You've never been able to do that on a PlayStation, an Xbox, any Nintendo machine, and even on your mobile device, right? When you play on mobile or you play on Switch, you're playing online because your cards are on the screen or it's on your phone. Imagine everybody in the room, there's a central screen, and everybody in the room has a screen on their controller. Now the flop is on the main screen, the 3 cards, and everybody has their 2 cards. Imagine things like Ticket to Ride, Ink and Gold, Pictionary, Telestrations, Monopoly, Scrabble. Imagine all these games where Scrabble, another perfect example. Imagine if you could have everyone has their letters on their controller or have their cards. So just that alone creates something incredible. But just another thing to consider as well. In menu screens, let's take Tekken, for example. You go on Tekken and you're going in the menu screen and you're going to pick who you want to be. And what do? You take your D-pad and you're searching around. Click, 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 click. Boom, hit a button, right? So lots of different button presses, and then you click to hit enter. Or what if on our system, all the characters are there, you look at them, you push the button. One button click, one button press, as opposed to 20 or 30. You ever get one of those PlayStation or Nintendo or Xbox gift cards?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Those are fun, aren't they? You get them home and you're sitting there for 20 minutes trying to, I can't stand putting my email address in, let alone my credit card info, let alone some 35-digit alphanumeric freaking thing so I can get my $20 gift certificate, right? You want to put a bullet in your brain, right? For us, you can, first of all, you could type on the thing, but because we have RFID across the entire system, all you do is when you could take one of our cards, you take it home, boom, you just tap it on the system and that's it. Shows up automatically. Same thing with the RFID on our controllers. I take my controller. I can go over your house. I tap my controller on your machine. And now, of course, it connects it automatically, but we can now play all of my games that I own. We can now play them on your machine. These are the kinds of things that no one has ever done before, right? But from a gameplay element as well, speaker, microphone, gyroscope, accelerometer, color touchscreen, wireless charging, RFID, buttons that light up, disc that lights up, lighting on the system and on the controllers. So that means, let's say we're playing, let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6 of us in the stream right now. Let's say the 6 of us wanted to play Frogger. Now you say, well, Tommy, Frogger's a great game. My wife loves it. My mom always would play that. But that's a single player game. You get your frog from point A to point B.
Great multiplayer game.
It's an amazing multiplayer game. Imagine the 6 of us all playing at the same time. My controller is lit up red. Yours is green. Yours is blue. Yours is orange. Yours is purple. Yours is yellow. And your controller, which is all lit up that color, also represents your frog on screen. So I can look over to you and go, oh, you're the green one. Oh, you're the blue one. Oh, you're the... Now, old school Frogger. We're not going into first person 3D, all that bullshit that everyone tries to do with, when they update a game. No, overhead, simple stuff, updated graphics and audio. But now the 6 of us need to get to the top. Oh, by the way, there's only 5 openings. And now you're pushing people off the log. Now you're like the most simplest of ideas in games. You know what I mean?
I envision a lot of yelling and screaming during that time in the room.
Tons.
I'm knocking Jeremy right off that log, I'll say right now. Get ready, Jeremy.
You sit on the edge of that. You sit on the edge of that log. I will come up and I will bump you the hell off. And then you got to start back at the beginning again, right? This is fun stuff. And the other thing to note too is that a lot of the games that we're doing are using the touchscreen, using the microphone. So, for example, we got this one amazing game, and this is another exclusive for you guys. We have this one great game, and it's the one that tests the highest among non-gamers. And all you do is you're using the controller and you tap the touchscreen and you talk into it. And I don't want to give away the game design and all this stuff because it's a big reveal that we're doing at E3. But something as simple as that. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're young, old, or 80 years old. Grandma can just push the screen and say a word into the controller. And that's that's what the whole gameplay is built around that.
Nice.
And so this is the kind of stuff that I'm saying never been done before in the game industry. So when I say that, people might equate that to, oh, do you have some special chip, some special thing going on? No, it's about, because of the way we've created the machine with the lights, with the touchscreen, with all these things I mentioned, we've put it in a way that no one has ever mixed this stuff up before and put it all together into one. Because of that, and because we're focused on couch co-op, because we're focused on people who don't play video games all the time, combining all that stuff together has opened up such a huge... I'm going to give you one more exclusive, one more fun thing. So we have this game where you're trying to crash into each other. You can see a little bit of it in our Gamescom trailer video.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you'll see 4 cars, and it's kind of like, remember Crisscross Crash, if you had that Hot Wheels thing? It's kind of like that. So you don't have to steer the car. You just slow up or speed down. And the object is to smash into the side of somebody. Now, in a normal video game, if I smash into you and your car is now out, in a normal video game, you'd have to sit there and wait for the others to all crash out before you have a chance to play again. Mm-hmm. That's been video games since the beginning of time.
Yep.
But what I've done is, again, I'm pun intended, changing the game because of the color touchscreen. If I knock you out, waiting around isn't fun. Now you're going to go on you're going to check your Instagram. You can check. No. The fun for you really starts because we have these traps that are all set up in the track. For example, and so on your controller, you might see a brick wall. You touch the brick wall, and you have to time it. The brick wall comes up, and then you can smash somebody out. And if you smash somebody out, even though you're out, you get a point for that. Or there's a magnet. The magnet will, and again, you have to time it perfectly. And you only get one of each. You get one magnet, one brick wall, and we have another one where it stretches your car out to twice the length, so you're more apt to get hit. And we have a whole bunch of ones. We have holes. We had all these different things on different levels. But so you put the magnet down, and then I get caught in the magnet right in the intersection, and boom, somebody hits me, and you get a point for that, even though you're out. You see what I'm saying? And all you do is you touch the thing. You touch the magnet on the screen. You touch the brick wall. This is the kind of game design and elements that no one's ever been able to do before until now.
And it brings up some really interesting gameplay elements to it too.
Huge. Yeah. There's stuff that we haven't even thought of yet that the developers for years to come are going to be thinking in crazy ways on how we can use this controller. And when everybody has a controller and there's a central screen and there's RFID and microphone, speaker, colored touch screens, light up buttons, I mean, it's going to be crazy, right? Let me see. I'm gonna show you the new version. I've never shown this live before. Okay, so let me switch back so I can.
Ooh, that looks pretty nice.
Sexy.
Yeah, so that's this and that. Now, let me see if the wait. Let me shut this light off. Let me hold on. No.
You need to put it sideways a little bit to the left or the right.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
You got it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I can see the. But let me see, and I'll show you the. Okay, everything's backwards because I'm looking at the screen. Here's the. You can see you'll see the accelerometer working there.
Right.
The glare is killing me, but. Let me see if I can get it to. There's the.
It's coming in pretty good. Mm-hmm.
You can see the ball moving around on the screen to show the the accelerometer working, and also when you touch the screen, it vibrates. You can see the screen working there, how responsive it is. But this is my favorite screen. Let me make sure it's dark, but it's not gonna. It doesn't show up well, but anyway, this is the.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it lights up. That's nice.
Yeah, they
It's
just
almost like the
up.
Philips Hue brand stuff.
And you can see also, here, you see that little green ball. That's you're showing. So we have 64 positions. Most D-pads only have 8, but you see that green thing on the top. See, the harder I press down,
oh yeah,
the harder. So it's touch. Yeah, so it's got touch sensitive as well, and you can see the lights getting bigger, longer.
Now I'm sure the screen is also as well, right? Touch sensitive.
No, not really. No, the screen is it's just a touch screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a quick question. I'm curious. How many of these controllers can you have going at one time? Like how many people,
8.
like players? 8? Okay.
8.
Nice.
Now, but the other great thing though, guys, is that not only do you have 8, let me shut this off, charge it up. Not only do you have 8, you can have up to 8 controllers, but of course the system comes with 2 controllers. Now that's the first video game system in about 25 years that has come with 2 separate controllers. And by the way, these are not cheap, right? I mean, think about it. We have more technology in this. This is basically a mobile device without the G's, right? How much do you pay for your mobile phones? $500, $600, $700, $800, sometimes $1,000.
I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it, right?
You're
getting 2 of these with the system, 5 full games, all for around $200. 220, we're still working it out, but it'll probably be around 220, 230, somewhere in that.
Now how much are the controllers going to be?
Right. So we're still working that out because every week little components will come down and this and that. I'll know the answer to that question in April when we finally go into production. That's when we're going into manufacturing. So from now until then, we're trying to save 1 penny here, 1 penny there, and not because we're making stuff cheaper, but because component prices come down from like month to month, right?
Yeah.
And so, but here's the great thing, guys. You can just I'm gonna launch this now because, like I said, everything I just said, boom, everything I just said that's in here, RFID, gyroscope, accelerometer, speaker, microphone, touch screen, it's all in your mobile device as well. So what we've done is we've recreated, and this is the old Intellivision skin here, we've actually recreated the entire this in this. And so you're now able to use this and hook up to 8 of these. Well,
oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is nice.
And it's a free app. We don't charge anything for it. So right out of the box, up to 8 people can play the device and they don't have to pay anything. What's the Xbox Elite controller? How much is that?
$180.
An American or Canadian?
$180.
Right?
Yeah.
And so how ridiculous is this getting, guys? We've got to put an end to it. And again, I'm not trying to like disparage any of the other companies. I'm really not. I'm just trying to point out all the ways that we're different, and hopefully this is refreshing for a lot of people to hear,
Well, Tommy, you can be different. That's all fine and dandy, but let's talk about the games.
Yes.
I'm a hardcore gamer, but I also play, casual games too.
Right.
What kind of hardcore games are we launching with, and what kind of casual games are you launching with too?
That's a great question. So I'll go over our catalog with you right now. The percentages. So 20 to 25% of our library is sports and recreation. Now, so not only baseball, football, soccer, and that stuff, but also recreational sports, bowling, skiing, darts, pool, cornhole, bocce, shuffleboard, right? So again, sports that you would play with your family. So that's, right. But even our sports games like they're not. You remember Tecmo Bowl? Remember that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's great.
Remember how easy that was?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, compare that. So that's what we're going for. Compare that to like the latest Madden football game.
I can't even play that anymore because it's so complex.
And again, keep in mind, you want to pick like out of 2 or 4 plays. Oh, I want to run or pass.
Yeah.
Boom. It's right here on your screen. All that crap you have to do on Madden football because everybody's watching your screen and you have to fake out things. You have to do this and that. No, it's all your playbook's right here, my friends. It's like boop, boop, boop. That's easy. Okay, cool. But it's all one button kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So that's a portion of our library. Another portion is hyper like casual sport, board games, card games, TV shows, things like Farkle and things like Spades, and like I said, all sorts of card games and match 3 things and this and that. So all those kind of super casual games. Boom, we got and board games and card games and dice games. Boom, we got that. Oh, let me tell you about the dice game. The dice roll. I'm actually going to be doing a video and I'm going to launch it next week as well for this. So imagine you're playing, Yahtzee, let's say, or you're playing some dice game, Farkle or whatever, with a group of people and everybody's got a controller and everybody's got a screen. It's your turn to go. So your controller buzzes. You're the red player, so your controller glows red. The system is glowing red to let you know, hey, red player, boom, your turn. Things vibrating because again, grandma sometimes doesn't know when it's her turn, right? So it's all painfully obvious, not only with sight, not only with sight and feel and sound. All 3 of those things are going to tell you it's your turn. Okay, now you get your dice up on your screen. And guess what? You can go like this. And now the dice are kind of moving around in real time. Dice, dice, dice. And then you go, boom. And you throw it up. And now they leave your screen and get thrown up onto the big screen that everybody can play.
Nice.
It's those little
Very
simple
cool.
touches, right, that no one's ever been able to do before, right? So anyway, so we have a lot of games like that. Okay, that's another 20-25%. Then I have a section 20-25%, which I call retro reimagined. And so what that is, it's Pong, it's Missile Command, it's Burger Time, it's Moon Patrol, it's all the old Intellivision games, Astro Smash and Shark and boom, boom, boom. You name it, we got it. The Froggers, all this stuff. It's those games, retro reimagined, meaning we're not changing the gameplay. We're not going to bring Frogger into 3D or bring, Pong into like third person. Same gameplay, but we're updating the graphics, updating the audio, but more importantly, adding in a whole bunch of couch co-op, not only co-op modes, but also versus modes as well. So let's take a game like Moon Patrol, for example. Now, Moon Patrol was a single-player arcade game. And for those of you interested to have a little taste of it, we have an app out there we launched. It's called Amico Club. It's on iOS, and we just updated it this week. You can download that, and you can actually play about 20 or 30 seconds of our Moon Patrol game. We ported it over on mobile just to get people excited or whatever.
Yeah.
But Moon Patrol is always a single player game. And yes, we have 20 campaigns that you'll have to go through. You'll have 6-7 hours of fun in single player for sure. But the multiplayer, we have multiple ways you can play. So let's say grandma's over, or you're playing with your little niece or little daughter or whatever, and you can be the one. You can assign different things on the vehicle to different people who are playing to play cooperatively. So, for example, you might say, look, I'm going to jump and I'm going to control the speed, but, my little nephew who's 5 years old, I'll assign the fire button to him. So all he has to do is just hit the screen or this disc or any of the buttons. He can just hit it. Anything, and it just fires, right?
Nice.
Or I can give my dad the jump button. Hey, Dad, you're going to jump. Just whenever you see a big rock, if it's still there, or whenever you see a hole, just jump for me, right? So that's the cooperative mode. But the one that I'm most excited about is this version I created where it's like a round robin versus mode. And again, you say, well, what about how do you do that? Is it multiple vehicles on screen? No, what it is this. Again, how do I use the colors, and how do I use the screen, and how do I use couch co-op like no one has ever done before? So for our round robin Moon Patrol, what happens is, again, I'm red, my car's red. Amico, when it's my turn, Amico is red, my controller's red, and my car's red, so I know it's my turn. Now, you're blue, you're green, you're purple. I know this because your controllers are lit up. Hey, you blue bastard, I see that you're blue. My goal in Moon Patrol is to go as far as I can. You guys are now all of the ships that are trying to stop me. And I know which one every one of you is, because the blue ship is your blue controller. The green ship is the green controller. Oh, and now you start to say, you son of a gun, I saw you green bastard, I'm going to get you next time. So when you stop me, now it's round robin. Now the green guy's up. Amico turns green, green ship. Now my red, I'm now a UFO, and I'm trying to shoot and fire you with everybody else. So I was just against all you guys. Now I'm on defense, or I guess you call offense too. Now I'm trying to stop everybody else too. So it's like everybody's on each other's team or against everybody at the same time. This opens up so many different amazing things. And again, you can only do it with our controllers, with the lighting system, with the touch screen and the way we're integrating that into the game. It's really kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of illumination, I want to talk about the design of the system. Specifically, what was the premise behind the illuminating LED lights going around the console, like that ring going around? Because they're very pretty lights, but do they serve any further purpose?
Oh yeah, I mean, I just named 10 of them over the last half hour. So with Moon Patrol, like I said, when it's your turn, boom,
yeah, that's right.
Red is up. All of the games. So yes, it absolutely comes into gameplay. Imagine this. Imagine you're playing. Oh gosh. Okay, here's another exclusive coming. Let's say you're playing Safe Cracker. You're trying to open a safe, right?
Oh, nice.
And you hear the click on your controller, click, 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 and you can feel you can hear so the tumbler, you can hear it, and it's lighting up here, right? And then when you get it vibrates a little bit. Ooh. And then you walk. Oh, I must have. Okay, so there's the tumbler. Now I have to go back the other way, right? So we're using the lights here, but think of it on the system. What if you were getting low on energy? How many times have you played a game and you have to take your kind of eye
push the home button,
off the action to either hit a home button or to look at your bar or to look at your health? That doesn't help you when you're playing, because now, oh shit, I'm about to die. Let me look up and see, oh, I'm dead now. Right? So imagine if, you were notified by the light, right? Going red, red, danger, danger. What if you had, and this was telling you as well. So yes, absolutely, lots of different ways. And by the way, it's fun just like when you win too. It's like you do something positive and it's like a rainbow effect or how about when there's a cop chasing you and it's going red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, like it's a cop machine, right? Let's say you hit a home run in baseball and it looks like flashlights going off and fireworks. Boom, 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 you got a home run. Yeah. Yeah, so it's really cool though. It's real. People are gonna love it. And the reason I incorporated this whole lighting system into the thing was from what I learned from being on the road with Video Games Live for 18 years. Right. One of the things I incorporated into Video Games Live is synchronized lighting. So it's not just an orchestra on stage playing video game music. That's okay, but when you have synchronized lighting and the video screen, now it becomes an experience that no matter what age you are, no matter how old you are, or if you're a gamer or not, if you're not a gamer at all and you come out and you're watching Warcraft and the rock and roll lighting is moving, synchronizing in time to this amazing music, it doesn't matter if you ever played the video game or not, right? Right. And so I learned that through Video Games Live, how important these kind of just lighting is, especially for non-gamers. And then that's why I incorporated it into the system, and then it opens up a whole possibilities of.
Tommy, I don't know if you've ever had. I don't know if you have the Philips Hue lighting system. Now, it's similar to what you're talking about. The Philips
for
Hue
what
lighting
system?
No, it's just a lighting. It's lighting. That's all.
Oh, it's just like for DJs and stuff.
No, not for DJs, but it's regular home lighting, and what it is there's a bridge.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, right. Yeah. They sell them at Best Buy. I've seen them at Best Buy. Yeah.
So you can now hook that up to your TV, which creates now the image on screen, the colors on screen. Cool. Actually, yeah, exactly. So
that's more of a gimmick, I guess, right?
No. Actually, it's not a gimmick. So let's say you're going through the ocean and automatically it turns blue. And then if it's, let's say it's a red balloon that passes by, then it'll turn blue and red with the balloon pass. It's very, it's like what you said.
Ambient?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing experience. So I can see
check
how.
That out.
Yeah,
do you have one?
I have one. So I can go on my app right now. you can't see it, but
Yeah.
I can go on my app and look at the background right now.
What am I looking at?
Look at my look at my screen.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So you can I could change the lighting all over
Blue,
the place. You know,
purple,
there's different
pink.
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Neat.
exactly.
It's cool.
So, but you can also they have a HDMI little box that you can connect to your TV, and everything that's on display can actually show up on the lights.
So do you play really video games with that on?
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm playing Halo and I'm in a grass field, it'll be green and stuff like that.
But what it's doing though is it's taking what's on screen and mimicking it in LED lighting.
Yep.
Gotcha. See, imagine how cool it would be though is every time like something like it was warning you of something that you didn't even see on screen, right? So yeah, we're not really doing that. I understand where that's cool, but that's not how we're approaching it. We're approaching it more of like, how can it be interactive?
Right, but that wasn't the point. Was the experience?
But the point, is that's something you enjoyed,
right?
Gotcha. Cool. That's good. Well, that's good news because a lot of people are like, I'm just going to turn those off because that's just going to be annoying. And for some people, it might be, and they have the option to turn that off. But
so we're going to go through a couple of rounds here with more questions with the panel, and then we're going to do some live chat questions if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask and I may have missed this part. What's your distribution as far as games? Is it just going to be centralized like when you start up the device?
We have digital and physical media.
Oh, okay, cool. So you
all the games digital are $9.99 or less.
So you get a discount because you're not paying for the distribution.
Absolutely. Unlike all the other companies out there that charge you the same exact amount for the physical than the digital.
Or more, yeah. Even
though the stores are marking them up 100%. Plus they have all the packaging, the media, all the money that it takes to create all those elements, the shipping, the taxes, all that stuff, right? But how come Zelda is still the same? Shouldn't it be like $30 for the digital version instead of 60? No. And so we're passing on all of that. We're passing that on to the consumer. Again, companies just don't do that, right? See, my two biggest things with our consumers, our two biggest things are what I want people to feel is trust and value, right? I want people to trust the Intellivision brand, to trust Amico, that it's not going to deliver you crappy games, that it's not going to take advantage of you, there's no in-app purchasing, there's no loot boxes, there's no added downloadable content to charge you, we're not going to ask you for your email address and your friends list on Facebook, you're not going to get 30-second ads every 3 minutes, you're going to be able to trust that we're not going to have violence and bad language and bloody crap, that your kids can play this no matter what they are, and it's going to be safe for them forever. We're going to build trust and value. So if a family of 4 and a dad takes his family of 4 out to the movies, you're talking $12 to $15 each for the ticket. You're talking popcorn and soda. They're spending $60 to $80. And they're getting 2 hours of entertainment, and the family is sitting in a dark room not talking. If we can provide 10 hours of entertainment for $5 or $6, you can see where the value proposition now becomes much greater for people. Everything that we do. Let me tell you really quick about the Founders Edition that we're putting on sale this coming week. You got to sign up to our mailing list, though. For anyone to not sign up, go to IntellivisionAmico.com, and we're doing a limited edition. And this is only something that we're doing. We're not trying to raise money or Kickstarter or anything like that. This isn't Kickstarted, right? We have real investors from around the world. what we're doing is we want to do something because we're getting so many hundreds of emails from people. We want to do something special for the people who are paying attention now. Because keep in mind, we haven't started marketing. We haven't spent $1 on advertising. Our marketing and advertising campaign don't kick in till the end of summer. So anyone knowing and finding out about it now is just like a bonus to us, right? But what we're doing is so many people have been asking us for something special. So we wanted to do something special for our most hardcore followers. So like I said, the normal machine will be about $220, $230. And that comes in white or black. We're also going to have limited edition versions. If you've seen the vintage wood grain, the red with black carbon fiber, we have a purple, one of those, we call it Galaxy Purple because it's, the kind of the oil spill effect where it changes colors depending on, between purple and blue. Mm-hmm. Those cost a lot more to manufacture. So we're doing those as limited editions, and those will sell for around $279 because they're more expensive and they're limited. What we're doing is we're doing a special, and those are for kind of super fans that want the limited edition. But most of the machines that you'll see all over the place are going to be $220, $230, like I said. On sale, they'll be $1.99, right? So, and again, 5 full games, 2 super expensive controllers, up to 8 mobile devices all at the same time, no DLC, all games $10 or less. Okay.
So the Founders Edition, you're going to start pre-orders for that this Friday?
Yes. Now, are you ready for this? Because again, I'm always about value, always about giving people way more than they're expecting. So the normal vintage wood grain edition is going to cost $279 when it comes out. Okay. And it's going to be limited to probably 10,000 pieces. Okay. The Founders Edition, first of all, I got to tell you how many we're doing. We're doing 2,600, to kind of jab Atari a little bit. Gotcha. The Atari 2600. So we're going to do 2,600 Founders Editions. It's going to be the vintage wood grain. Each one is going to be hand signed by me and hand numbered. 1 of 2,600, 2 of 2,600, 3 hand numbered, hand signed. It's also going to come with a 3D lenticular Running Man poster on the back, signed by the entire Intellivision team who created the console. The third thing, you're going to get a Founders Edition pin. You're going to get a Founders Edition patch. You're going to get a free physical and digital Earthworm Jim soundtrack. You're going to get a physical Tommy Tallarico soundtrack and the digital as well. You're going to get the console shipped to you a couple days before the rest of the world. And you're going to get, and this is a big one, you're going to get a special golden ticket, a metal golden ticket that is an RFID on it, which is a $50 gift certificate for the games. So when you turn your Amico on, you're going to take that thing, you're going to tap it on the system, and it's a collectible, beautiful thing. We're going to show it to you next week, and that will put 50 games on the console. So keeping in mind that the normal limited edition vintage wood grain is going to be $279 plus $50 plus this plus that plus the sign plus this. You'd think that something like this would, I don't know, be $350, $399 maybe, whatever. Founders Edition, $299. Only $20 more than what we're going to sell it to. And you don't have to pay $299 now. That's ridiculous. Again, this isn't a Kickstarter.
Nice.
You put $100 down now, and it's 100% refundable. If you want to, if by September when the final payment is about to go through, it'll give you the choice. Do you want your $100 back? If not, you're going to lose the system. and I'll keep it and I'll sell it on eBay. I don't care. So it's $100 completely refundable thing. And so for the folks who are interested in that, we're putting that on sale. You got to sign up to our mailing list, though. That's where we're gonna do it there first. So anyway, yeah, that's the Founders Edition. So pretty cool. Value and trust, my two biggest things.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested.
Good value.
Atari dude had a great question about this. He says, how can the Founders price be set when the final retail price isn't fully set? Because we know the range. We know the range of the basic machine. We know the range is going to be, like I said, 220, 230. We know that range already, right? And so the vintage wood grain, we know how much it's going to cost us, and we don't mind taking a loss on the Founders Edition because it's a special thing for our most hardcore fans. So we're going to take a loss on it. So that's why we don't care.
So I have a little bit of a tough question. Just
Hit it.
because you said that
My
you were
favorite.
open to them. All right. So just to point it out there, I totally respect what you're trying to do, bringing families together, giving them a console that they know that isn't going to have mature rated content on it.
Uh-huh.
I actually came from a household where the parent would not play video games with me. So that's where I'm just wanting to spark the question on, with the way the social climate we live in, parents are always too busy with their jobs and daily life to sometimes do stuff like that. Not to mention you're going against three very well-established names in the industry. What is your, plan going forward on how you are? Because you say you want to change the industry. You're wanting to change how people perceive gaming. And essentially you're trying to change the world. And that's actually a very, very large, thing to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, all of the things I just mentioned, you can't do on those three systems. Again, keep in mind, 200 million hardcore gamers on those systems. I'm not trying to compete with those systems. We're not competing with them at all. We're competing with board games. That's the family fun thing. The board game industry has gone up 40% every year for the last 5 years in a row. Why is that?
I love board games.
Yeah. Why is that?
We were talking about that last night.
Because people can't play video games together anymore. That's why, right? And so I want to understand your question though, because I think you brought up a couple good points. So lay out, tell me what the one thing is in regards to our marketing or in regards to, I just want to understand it 100%.
Well, to kind of put in a society, you're wanting to bring people together where people invite each other over to their homes again to play games.
Yes.
But now let's take a look at it from a society perspective. Back in the 1950s, people lived with white picket fences, and they would talk to their neighbors over a fence that was waist high. Fast forward to the year 2020, people are building 6-8 foot concrete retaining walls because they don't want to look at their neighbor.
Right.
So
it's a great question.
Tackle.
So the first thing is families. Families don't live like that at all. Families of a 4-person unit, two kids and two parents, or one parent and two kids or whatever. They're not living with brick walls. They're all in the same house together. And the sad, pathetic part is that little Susie's on her phone in the corner. Teenage boy is in his room shut down with his headphones on playing Fortnite. Mom, maybe she's playing Candy Crush, or she's not even interested because she hates video games because her two kids aren't playing together. See, my idea has already been proven. The Nintendo Wii was the third biggest selling console of all time. 102 million units sold. Generated $50 billion in revenue. The Nintendo Switch has only sold 45 million units. That means there's 55 million people out there who bought a Wii for $249 14 years ago, which is the equivalent of $320 today. Where did all those people go? Well, we know that billions of people play this, right? And so think about the last time you did have a family gathering. So, maybe it was Thanksgiving, maybe it was Christmas, maybe it was New Year's, right? Did those whole group of people play video games? Probably not. You were probably playing a board game, if any games, right? And so we're not expecting like the system's going to live or die on strangers or friends getting together. It's more about the family because right now technology has been splitting families apart for the last 10 years. They did a huge research, and the number one thing that young parents are concerned about the most when it comes to their kids, you know what the number one thing was? Giving their kids too much screen time by themselves. That is the number one concern for a young parent on the planet Earth today, right? And so what we're doing is, because they can't play with their kids, right? They could with the Wii. I get so many people telling me, yeah, we have the Wii hooked up still. Do you know this? Just Dance by Ubisoft. Last year, they came out with a new Just Dance. They did an Xbox One version. They did a PlayStation 4 version. They did a Nintendo Switch version. And because a whole bunch of people asked them for it, they did a Wii version as well as a goof, right? Because, it's like the first Wii game that's come out in 7 years or whatever. Can I tell you this? And you can find this online. Just Google it. Just Dance on the Wii outsold all the other platforms combined. What the hell is that saying to you, right? People want this kind of entertainment. It's just that nobody's making it, And so that's our goal. Our goal is to use technology to bring people together. And even those gamers that are in the same house together, they're not even playing together because there's nothing that they can all do together. I hope that answered your question somewhat.
No, it did. Do you guys mind if I ask him one other quick question?
Hit it.
No, I want to, because now you are marketing a game console to a very younger demographic.
To parents. We're marketing to parents.
To parents, yeah. But you're wanting kids, you even said 4-year-olds to be able to pick up a game and actually kind of mess with it.
Yep.
Now, that being said, we all know kids of that age can sometimes be a little destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that something that's gone into the design of the controller?
Hell yes. I mean, I'll release some of these videos someday. But yeah, we all have a tear in our eye in the office when we take this thing and we slam the shit out of it on the floor because we have to break them. Yeah, so for sure. And by the way, that's why a lot of parents, these parents, they're paying $1,000 for their iPhones or their Galaxy 10s, right? $1,000, and and you don't want to give that to your 4-year-old. They're going to drop it and stuff. So yeah, kid tested. Now, granted, if you take this thing and you whale it against a wall, it's not going to do well.
I backed over it with my SUV. It didn't survive.
Yeah, but you can drop it on the ground a bunch of times and it'll be no problem. You just can't take a sledgehammer to it. I'll tell you this. I will go on record as saying this. It's a lot more resilient than your mobile device. A lot more. And what we've done is, actually, this is another exclusive for you guys. So we have the capacitive screen. So it's glass, just like your mobile, and people don't know this yet, it's first time, but we actually put another, like a plexiglass, we put a, what do we call it? It's like a thing that goes over, it's like cut out that goes completely over it just for that reason, because we don't want the glass to break.
Oh, very, very
great questions. Great questions.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of questions, we are going to dive right into the chat. The chat has a whole bunch of questions to ask you, Tommy.
Hit it.
First, we're going to start with show friend Jago Kukin. Let's see here. So how did your meeting with MLB go going forward with four?
Yeah. So he must have listened to the other the podcast I did with your buddies. Something came up, and I'll do it again. So we had that meeting, and then I'll tell you how well it went. This is for January 21st. You can see January 21st. Look at 8:30 in the morning. So it went so well. We're doing a second meeting. It's like our fifth meeting, but no, it's going great. It's funny. The guy who's in charge over there of digital and licensing and stuff, huge Intellivision fan, grew up playing MLB baseball, figuring out. We're like, we got to put, because remember the MLB and Intellivision, that was the very first sports license ever in the video game industry over 40 years ago. So how cool would it be for the very first two companies 40 years later to kind of come back and do something? So we're all excited about it. It'll happen for sure. But great question.
All right. Next up, Atari Dude had a few questions. This is an interesting one. When I own those board games, etc. already, why would I want to play that on an Amico when I could just bring out the boards? What will make the Amico experience what's the difference enough to go digital?
Great question. Great question. I'm going to give another exclusive here. I'm just dropping them like bombs tonight.
Dropping the bombs.
If you've ever played the game Tellustration, I'm going to use the game Tellustration as an example. Very, very big, it's a very big, huge, popular game. Okay. Tellustrations is a game where everybody gets a pad and a marker. And what happens is everybody picks a card. You look at the card and it says a word. It might say giraffe. And then your card might say kitchen, and another card might say chair. Okay. So what you do is, once you get your card, you now draw on this pad what your card says, right? So mine's a giraffe. I try to look like something that looks like a giraffe. And the timer is 60 seconds. Everybody's done at 60 seconds. Now you pass your pad to the right. Next person gets their pad. This person gets their pad. This person gets their pad. And now you look at the picture. You flip over the pad. And now you write down what you think that person was drawing. And you get 60 seconds for that. Then, once that's done, you pass the pad. It's kind of like a cross between Pictionary and Telephone, if you remember playing that game with a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Pass the pad. Now I get a thing that says donkey. And now I flip the page, I draw a donkey. And it keeps going all the way around. At the end of the game, I then, one player at a time, I have to show everyone my pad. Hey, look, everybody, check it out. My word was a giraffe, and so I drew a giraffe, and now when I passed it to John over here, he said he thought that was a donkey because I suck, and it looked like and then look at this person drew looks like a donkey, but with the next person, they said it was a dog. So anyway, the fun part, you don't even keep score. The fun part is watching how stupid the drawings are. And again, you have to take your little pad this big and everybody gathers around and you kind of show them this pad. Now let's play the Intellivision version.
All right. What's
your word? Boom, it randomly comes up. Everybody gets a different word sent right to their controller. You don't have to pick cards. You don't have to, boom, timer on the screen starts to count down. Now, you haven't done anything. Now, the lights on the Amico are starting to fill up. as the timer is getting lower and lower and lower, so you can look at it and go, oh crap, I'm running out of time. You're drawing right on the controller. Boom. Now your time's up, and it automatically shifts my picture right to the next person. This person's picture comes right in what they just drew. And now I write on the thing what I think it is. Boom, it goes around, around, around. Then at the end, instead of me taking one book and everybody gathering around and looking over my shoulder at this little book, boom, the whole thing is up on the big screen for everybody to see.
Nice.
This is a huge difference, night and day, same exact game. Again, Monopoly. It is fun. Again, I'm not trying to disparage board games. I love board games too, but when you don't have to set them up and you don't have to put them away, and you can easily explain everything because it's right on the screen and right on the controller, and anyone can jump in with their mobile, it becomes a different experience. I don't think we're going to replace board games, but some of this stuff is going to be quicker to play, easier to jump into, and then again, and playing different cooperative and versus modes as well too. So different ways to play.
All
Great
right.
question.
Yeah, definitely. Next up, we have Screw Watermarks. Back in that NLG stream last Thursday, you mentioned that there would be limited editions of games and retail exclusives, but specifically said nothing with limited run. Any particular reason why?
Just because we're doing retail, we're doing deals directly with all of our big box retailers. So GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon, this and that. So, so each physical item is going to be exclusive to a big box retailer or their websites.
All right.
So we don't. So I guess my point being is that we don't need to. We don't need to do a special use a third party to distribute our stuff, because that's what limited run is great. I've gotten so many things from them. Right, 8-bit, another one. They did the Earthworm Jim Super Nintendo cartridge and all that. Those are great companies, but those companies do stuff for things that aren't physical releases. We are doing physical releases, right? So that's the difference there. And we're doing them at retail.
All right, fantastic. We got a question from Stamos here in the chat. Question, if you don't mind. Will the batteries on the controllers be replaceable? I want to be able to use the thing for years to come if I get one and still stress over battery packs.
So you can see on the back of the controller, maybe I legally can't, I shouldn't say this, but those are screws that you can take out. So there'll probably be a lot of DIY videos out there on tearing the thing apart. I can't legally say you can do that or should do that.
That would probably videos on how to shove tinfoil in an Xbox controller.
that would probably void your warranty. But I will say this: we have the batteries are going to last anywhere from 5 to 7 hours. We're still testing them. And if you're playing on your own, that means you have one if you're playing by yourself, that means you have one in the well already, and you're playing this. So after 5 hours of play, if you're playing by yourself for 5 hours, you just put that one on the thing and then the other one pops in. Or again, USB 3, you can just keep them wired or whatever. But no, and we're doing a whole bunch of testing. So the batteries on these things are going to last, a long, long time, because the difference between our system and the other ones that are out there is that we don't view our system as kind of what I just described, where we don't think somebody's going to be sitting down and playing for 5-6 hours at a time even, right? Those are PlayStation games, those are Xbox games and stuff like that. Again, think about a board game, right? A family might get together and they'll play for an hour, 2 hours, and that's it, right? So so when you're not playing the system every day for 7 hours, like some folks are on their PlayStation, Xbox, then those batteries over time, just like your mobile device, over 4-5 years, the battery starts, when it gets charge, recharge a million times, the battery life starts to diminish, right? And so, so we really don't, we don't see that being an issue as it is for other controllers and systems out there. But you'll also be able to buy these separately as well, too. And we're even doing like a family pack, 2 packs, family pack, single pack, whatever.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice. Moving on. Again, these are some great questions coming up in the chat, guys.
Loving it.
Colt K has a question. What is the CPU and GPU and RAM in the Intellivision Amico? And will it be physical games on the system? And will you be competing against the Atari VCS?
Okay, great. Three questions there. Let me get to each one. We don't know if we're going to be so yes, there's going to be physical media. Boom, got rid of that one. Yes. 2, as well as digital as well. 2, the Atari VCS is nothing like our machine. It's literally, I would even go as far as saying, the exact opposite of our machine, in that, their play seems to be, for modders and hackers, it seems, right? You can launch in sandbox mode, you can launch different operating systems and this and that. So it seems more like, to me, and I would never want to speak for Atari, but for me, looking on the outside and kind of, following it as I do, it seems like it's kind of almost like a Raspberry Pi, but like on massive steroids with a cool logo, and name attached to it. That's exactly the opposite of what we are. Now, I hope that Atari makes it. I hope that they come out, and I hope that they're successful, because I want to kick their asses. And so in order for me to truly kick their ass all up and down the joint, they have to come out, and they have to be, they have to be out there doing it. And so I say that as, kind of tongue in cheek. Well, I like to poke fun at them, because as you might know, Atari and Intellivision, that was the first console war. It was the first rivalry in the console industry. Now, Atari kicked our ass back in the day. We were a much more expensive machine back then, right? But we owned 20% of the video game market by the early 80s. Atari had about 75%.
Yeah.
Right? And so they were 5 times bigger than us. We were doing $500 million a year back then. We had 1,800 employees worldwide back then. That's the equivalent, 500 million back then gross is the equivalent of $1.4 billion today. We were legit as hell, but Atari, and as legit as we were, doing millions of machines, they were 10 times bigger. We did a total of like 4 or 5 million units. They were doing 30 million units, 27 to 30 million. So again, they were 5-6 times what we are. This time around, we're going to be the champs, and it took us 40 years to finally catch up and now kick their ass. That's my hope. But and again, I say that in tongue in cheek. I have no ill will towards Atari at all. It's just kind of fun. Here we are 40 years later, reliving the original rivalry, which is kind of fun.
Of course. Oh, we got all kinds of...
and the last question was in regards to the CPU and all that stuff. If you go on IntellivisionAmico.com and you scroll down, we actually give the specs of the machine. You can see it there. It's an 8-core processor, 2 giga. I can't remember what because we've been upgrading it, so I don't know if the website has our latest one on there or not. Because again, prices come down all the time, and so we'll be like trying to shoehorn in the latest greatest stuff, like and then we have to test it like crazy. So we're going to be locking down the machine, probably by the middle of February, and then doing massive amounts of testing for 6 to 8 weeks before we go into final production. But
now before you,
but again, for us, it's not about speed though. So you're not going to be impressed with our specs. I can tell you right now. But that's not, we don't care. It's not about, for us, it's not about the specs. It's about the games and the gameplay and all the other stuff we're talking about. That's so
before
unique.
Invader talks about the, ask the next question. You should have like collector controllers, like, get partner with different people and have, collector controllers. I think it'd be a good idea. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, if there's third-party folks that want to, like third-party folks that want to come in and design controllers, absolutely, we'll put them out for sure. And a lot of people ask me, because this is Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so you can connect with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth with your phone, with the controllers and all that stuff, right? But a lot of people ask, well, could I just hook up just a normal Bluetooth, like, PC controller, an Xbox controller? You actually could, but remember all the stuff I was saying, right?
Yep.
You're not going to get any of that. So you're not going to want to. See, one of the challenges with all the haters out there is that they look at this and they're saying to themselves, how the crap am I going to play Fortnite or Call of Duty on that? Right? And their answer is, you're not. Right? It's a different experience. Remember when right before the Wii came out? Remember how everybody was hating on it? I was one of them, by the way. I'll admit it. I'm like, what the hell are they thinking? What the heck is all this crap and this and that and all that? People didn't understand it until they had it in their hands. And then when they saw their mom playing it, think of all the hardcore gamers out there who have wives and small kids, and all they typically do is go play Call of Duty or Fortnite on their own, right? While their wives sit there and roll their eyes. Imagine the conversation that's going to happen around the dinner table next Christmas when the wife says, I was in GameStop, or I saw a thing at GameStop, or I was in Walmart or Target or Costco, and I saw this video game system, and it like seemed really fun. I was playing it, and I'm thinking of getting it. That husband is going to be like, wait, what? You want to buy a video game system and you'll play it with me? Yeah, count me in. So that's going to be a powerful message that I think. And again, it's just something that doesn't happen in home consoles right now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right, we're going to move on just to a couple more of the panel questions. Now, Tommy, I think it's been stated that there's 5 games that'll be included with the Amico, if I'm correct. Now, I think one that's been confirmed is Intellivision Skiing.
Skiing, yep.
Correct.
Nice.
Now, are all of the included games finalized, and are any of them new games?
Yes, so the 5 games are finalized. We've only announced one. We're going to announce a second one this week, and we're going to show it. And 4 of the 5 games are original Intellivision games from the past that we've redone and made amazing. And one of the games is something completely brand new that really shows off the motion controls. It's kind of like our Wii bowling, if you will.
Oh yeah,
but it's not bowling.
All right.
I keep hearing that echo the dolphins calling to me, Tommy. What about
I can neither confirm nor deny that is Echo the Dolphin. But if you go on Ed Annunziata, he's the creator of Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah.
If you go on his Twitter, you'll and his company's called Playcamy. And if you look on our press release from December 3rd, you'll see we list our first 25 developers, or 20 or 25, I forget. And you'll see Ed's on there. So you know how we announced Earthworm Jim. We got the original Earthworm Jim team back together, all 10 of us, after 25 years. The team is getting back together to create an exclusive game using all the crazy things about this. People like, oh, why don't you just put it on Switch? Because the game we're designing cannot be played on Switch. It cannot be played on the Xbox. It can't be played on mobile. It can't be put on Steam.
Now,
because
does this mean that you're going to be creating the music for that game?
Damn straight.
Yeah.
On the weekends. In fact, I'm doing a lot of the sound design as well for all of the games. And we're going to be launching another game we're going to be launching this week. And this, I'm not confirming this as one of the 5 because, in fact, I'm confirming that it is not. But we're going to be showing a lot of gameplay footage this coming week and a lot of cool videos. That DICE demo that I told you about, you're going to actually see that. I'm going to release a video. But one of the things, one of the games that we're going to be showing and you're going to be hearing this week is Night Stalker. So the new version of Night Stalker. Now that is not one of the 5. It's going to be a separate game, but it's going to be available on launch. And wait till you hear this thing. I'm proud of it, and I've spent a lot of time making sure it sounds epic. So, yeah.
So you have 5 in the box ready to go. How many games do you plan to launch with?
It could be anywhere. I'm going to be super conservative, but it could be anywhere from 20 to 40 games.
Oh, wow.
Now, we're trying to go for 40 games, but I made a promise, and again, it comes down to that whole trust and value thing. We will not release any games that are like mediocre. Not interested.
That's great.
So if the game's like about a 5 or a 6 on kind of like our internal scale, we'll either kill it or we'll put more resources into it to see if we can get up to at least like a 7 or 8 by our standards. So that's why I can't tell you exactly how many games. I can tell you we have 40 in the pipeline right now. And being a realist and being in the industry for as long as I have, over 3 decades, I'm not sure if all 40 of those games are going to be up to our standards. And then once a 10-10-20-20 hits, every 7 to 10 days or 10 to 14 days, you're going to get a brand new game. And there's only going to be one game released at a time on Amico. And why this is so important is for the indie developers out there. They spend their heart, they blood, sweat, tears, all the passion in the world, all the sacrifices they make, bootstrapping their product, living in their mom's house so that they can save money on rent, or 5 developers all living in a small apartment together to make it their dream become a reality. And then they release their game on Steam or on mobile, and 1,000 other games come out this week. And their dreams are shattered. For us, we say, look, we're going to provide you with the audio. You don't need to worry about that. We'll provide you with one of the best art directors in the world who will help you with your art. We'll provide you with the best optimizers that we have because they know the system because they created it. We'll provide you with programming.
What is Mike Mika? How is Mike Mika involved?
Mike Mika, I'm sorry. So Mike Mika, who's one of the greatest retro, or not one of, the greatest retro developer on the planet. Well, I can tell you that Mike Mika, his companies, Digital Eclipse, Other Oceans, they're doing 5 games for us out of the gate.
IDARP?
Yeah, it's amazing. Including one of the ones that I'm showing this coming week, Night Stalker. They're working on Night Stalker, and it is unbelievable. You'll see it. And again, you're not going to get photorealistic graphics. It's all about style. It's all about what we're able to do. It's all about multiplayer, all about versus, all about co-op, all about the audio. You'll see. It's pretty cool. We showed like a little 1-second clip of it back in our Gamescom trailer that we released back. When was it? In August, I think.
August, yeah.
Yeah, you'll see a 1-second clip of it. Well, we're going to show you like 5 to 10 minutes of it, or well, maybe not 10 minutes, but we're gonna show a lot more of it, and you're gonna hear it, and you're gonna feel it, and you're gonna experience it. It's pretty cool.
All right, and I think we have another question from Sniper Melon. Can the karma system be turned off for the games? Okay. So I guess
now, if I can hop in, I'm actually intrigued by this karma system. Do you guys care if I read Atari Dudes?
Hit it.
Or
What would keep the karma engine from being abused? If an experienced player initially do bad early, and when the difficulty drops, just start slaughtering.
So that's, again, you're going to be playing with your friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're purposely tanking so that your karma goes higher, and then you start beating your friend like that, that's cheap. Like human beings are going to work that out among themselves,
Yeah,
you'd be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, that's bull. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not an online. Yeah, it's not an online experience.
Yeah, it's not online. It's not cheating, right? Like, if you were online, that would be considered cheating. If you're next to your best friend or your wife, you're not going to cheat, like so that you can beat up your wife more. Like that's against what the whole system is about.
I deliberately play bad so my wife wins.
Well, that's the thing, right? You're sandbagging. You won't need to do that anymore.
Oh, shit.
How great is it going to be when a non-gaming mom is going to beat her 18-year-old hardcore gamer Xbox playing son? Legitimately beats them. That's pretty cool. And again, it's not like Mario Kart where it's like, oh, you're in last place, so we're going to just throw you to the front and you're 10 times quicker now. I'm talking about like things like Pong. I always use Pong as an example. Let's say me and you are playing Pong together and you've never played Pong before, and I score 3 times in a row on you, then my paddle shrinks and your paddle gets bigger.
Nice.
And it kind of adjusts. So again, imagine I'm playing a 5-year-old girl. And I keep scoring on her for the first couple games. And now it adjusts. So like my paddle is about the size of the freaking ball. And her paddle is like half the size of the whole screen. Am I going to turn around and cheat on that little girl so I can beat her? Of course not, right? And how cool is it where the 5-year-old could actually legitimately beat me, and I'm like focusing like crazy trying to win because I'm at such a disadvantage. So it's kind of cool. And again, if you want to turn it off, you turn it off.
All right, that's pretty cool. Well, Tommy, chat, I think we're about done for tonight's show. We appreciate everybody that dropped in.
2.5 hours we did. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's
we didn't want to keep you on for too long. I told him keep it up.
I think I've ever been on.
Yeah. We told them to keep it under, try to keep it under 2 hours, but
totally. Well, guys, I appreciate all the tough questions. I appreciate the honesty. I love it. Hopefully I enlightened not only you guys, but the folks in the stream as well. If folks want to learn more, please go to IntellivisionAmico.com, sign up to our mailing list. Make sure, again, Facebook and Twitter are our other 2 things that we always will be putting out info and news. But the mailing list is the number one thing. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well. And I'm always trying to interact when I have the time. I work 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I'm always trying to on there asking questions. We also have over at the Atari Age forums, AtariAge.com. We have an Intellivision section there where I answer Q&A on a message board type environment. We got a lot of a great community over there that we're building. So, Tommy, I thank you guys so much for helping us spread the word.
Where do you get the energy for this, man? It just
I know, right? So a lot of people are like, you must take like massive amounts of Coke. And here's the reality, and I'll tell you straight up. I've never taken a drug my entire life. Never smoked
drink. Yeah, you don't even drink.
And I've never had alcohol. I've never even tasted it. Never had coffee. Never had a cigarette. It's just nothing I was ever into. My excitement level and energy level comes off straight up adrenaline. I get so excited. I've been talking for 2.5 hours with you guys. It's a Sunday night. I'm going to get off here. What am I going to go to sleep? Are you kidding me? I'm so amped up right now. I'm going to be designing. There's this game. It's one of the pack-in games, and we have a version of it. And I need to go through and make notes. And I'll be working on this for the next 4 hours. Right.
Well, Tommy, we appreciate what you obviously did in the industry. We appreciate your contribution, and we thank you for coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, man.
And if I can hop in on that, Downer and Invader, I will be truthful. I don't want to say I came in here pessimistically, but
that's okay.
In my line of work that I actually do, I actually have to help my employer predict what products are going to be successful.
Oh,
and so that's where when I came into this, I was like, oh, how's he going to compete with these gaming platforms that are out there? But now that I've heard you talk about it and you're not looking at it like that, you're competing with board games, you're not aiming for that demographic. Now that I've actually heard you talk about it, I could honestly say that you have changed my mind and being that way. I mean, like, I really do wish you the luck, and it's definitely something that is needed because, I work around a family-oriented business, and one of the employees is constantly concerned about what her kids interact with when it comes to screen time, and
the
I'm
Nintendo,
obviously going to have to show her this product.
And I'll tell you something too. A lot of parents don't realize this, but the Nintendo Switch is the most violent, X-rated, pornographic system out of all of them combined. There's more stuff. And again, that's not to disparage. I'm just dropping facts here, right? Like, parents need to know that and try to set the parental controls on a Switch. Again, you want to put a bullet in your brain. It's so complicated and complex, but and I'll leave you with a story in regards to what you were just saying. In regards to competing and stuff. See, the way I look at PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, they have like the Formula One car, right? The Formula One car is the fastest around. It gets you to point A to point B the quickest possible. Now, it's only a one-seater for the most part, but it's the greatest, best technology, amazing. We're not trying to build the Kia or the Prius to that Formula One car. What we've built is the bicycle. See, the bicycle also gets you from point A to point B, but in a very different way. It's slower. You kind of can stop and smell the roses. You can enjoy the sunlight on your face. You can bring a whole bunch of friends with you. You can have conversations with those friends as you're going from point A to point B. See what I'm saying? So, like, we're not trying to build a cheaper video game console or a different one. What we're doing is, we're building a whole new experience that brings people together and where they have fun together.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. And, thank you for sharing with us your industry knowledge. Tommy, it was tremendous having you on tonight's show. And we would definitely love to have you on again at some point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. And especially after E3, because we're going to be revealing a whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah, let's do it again in about, 4 or 5 months.
I can't wait.
All right, getting me excited there. But yeah, again, thank you, Tommy. We're just going to move on to some final words from the panel before we leave. Jeremy, wicked show tonight. Good questions. Where can everybody follow you at?
You can find me on Twitter. It's LoneMasterWho07. Once again, thank you, Tommy, and it was great.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Of course. Shock, hey, solid show. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Shock Nero on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live. But yeah, it was learning about the Amico. I didn't really know about it before we learned you were coming on, a few days ago. So this is pretty cool.
Definitely. Centurion, hey, excellent input tonight. Where can everybody follow you at, bud?
As always, you guys can find me right here with you on TXR on Sundays, but I also do Saltiest Gaming Podcast on Thursdays. I also do the Shop Podcast on Saturdays. You can also find me on Xbox Live, YouTube, and Twitter at Centurion1307. And earlier you said to kind of give the crowd something like some info. I don't know. I feel like doing the Bob Barker thing about saying how to, can help control the pet population. Have your cat and dog neutered today, spay or neutered today. How that goes, things.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, Centurion. And I'm Invader. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, Invader Gaming. And I'm pretty active on Twitter at Invader_1886. Guys in the chat, it's been great. Thank you all for coming here. Tommy, again, it's been wonderful. We can't wait to talk to you all next Sunday. Take it easy, everyone.
Bye.